Hi, Diana. You're the first one in. Hello. Welcome in. Laura, Neen, Nader. I'm a little early, so we've got a few minutes before it's officially time for this event. However, we can still talk before I start telling my story. Hi, Racy. So welcome in. If you've never seen me before, hi, Shannon. My name is Miss Molly. I'm intuitive psychic medium. And tonight we are going to be telling some stories, or I will be telling some stories, specifically starting out, hey Racy, with the near-death experience that I had when I was 3 years old, which is when my abilities became more pronounced, we'll say. And the reason I say it that way is I feel like everybody has abilities. Just some of us are more tapped in than others. That's all. It's just like some people are really good at math, which I am not. So, thank you, Racy. Some people are good at, writing, which I am. But, everybody has their natural talents. And so, in my case, I believe my near-death experience sort of set it off. So we're going to wait just a couple minutes because I'm early. But if you guys want to ask any other questions while we're waiting, some of the other stories I may tell tonight, I'm not going to be on super, super long, but I may tell the story of when I actually really started taking this seriously. Some of you might have heard the story of the Lady of the Lake. It is quite an amazing story. Marlene, does Dwayne text Ann R on Facebook Messenger? Jersey Greenie SX, I do not answer yes, no questions, and I'm not doing that tonight. So I really advise you to trust your inner gut. If that's what you feel, there's already a problem. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. The fact that you don't trust whoever that is an issue on your own. You don't need me to tell you that. If you can't trust somebody, you shouldn't be with them. Pretty simple. You don't feel it. Either you're the one who has an issue or they have an issue. One of the two. Hey, Leslie. Are you on here? Good to see you, cutie. Yeah, just think about that. Think about it this way, Jersey. I could say yes, I could say no, and I could be 50-50 right or wrong, right? That's not really a good way for me to help you. Lady of the Lake is the White Rock in Texas story. No, I've never heard that story. I have my own Lady of the Lake story, Leslie, and it's quite compelling, to be honest with you, because it's kind of how I started doing this. But I'm first going to tell my NDE story, and then I'm going to do that. But I want to... Hi, G-Doors. My subscriber's still not showing. It says that yours is about to expire, Shannon. That's what it showed me when you came on earlier. I don't know. TikTok's all messed up. Whatever. I'm not doing anything subscriber tonight, though. All I'm doing is stories. So it doesn't matter if you're a subscriber or not. Everybody is welcome to enjoy themselves tonight. I'm going to tell you some really true stories about myself. All of the paranormal nature. They are compelling. They are interesting. Some of you have already heard these stories, so you'll know that, it's not making it up. It's nothing that I could make up. I wish I could. I'd have a great imagination if it were a case. There's a Lady of the Lake story. I didn't know this. Well, I'm going to have to find out. I call it the Lady of the Lake because it has to do with the lake, but I don't know. I actually have it on my YouTube. So these stories are I recorded, a couple of years ago, and I have them on YouTube like way back in the history, but I haven't told them in a while. So if anybody has a watch, I don't know what happened, but I can't see what time it is anymore. So if anybody knows when it's about 8 o'clock, if you give me a heads up or something so I can start the stories. Hey, Shelly, Soulsby, how are you? Hi, Patricia. Hi, Rhonda. Hi, guys. Dixie Chicks 70. Hi. What was that? Oh, that's a fly. I was like, what's behind me? Oh, my neck just grabbed. Ouch. It's 7:51. Okay, so we got about 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes. So does anybody have any other questions for me or anything? The other story I was thinking of telling... Oh, it was actually the name of a bar in New York that was haunted. Oh, interesting. I'll have to look that up. I do paranormal investigation and paranormal stuff, too. There's a bug behind me. I don't know if you see it. But I have a few stories. I have stories about fae or fairies. I have stories about paranormal things that happen to me with spirits. Obviously, I have a lot of stories about my mediumship and so forth on here. But the story of my near-death experience is where it all started. So in a few minutes, we'll go into that. Excuse me. It's cooler today. I'm in Florida. Look, I wore this, but I'm wearing a flannel over it because it's actually chilly today. It's actually like 60-something out. So, unusual for here. It's been super hot, and then now it's cold for here. I know you guys are like, screw you, it's 20 degrees here. How many goats will your father accept in exchange for you, says Mike. I don't know. How many goats would my father accept? My father doesn't even accept me as it is. He wouldn't want anything from me. He'd give you me. He'd say, here, take her. Here, take a goat. Patricia says, I had a vivid dream of my deceased grandpa I never met. He died before I was born. So you did meet him in your dream. Yeah. Megan, should I reach out to Brandon? Megan, I don't do yes, no questions, sweetheart. I say this, do what feels right to you. Do what you feel. Do you feel good when you think about reaching out to them, or do you feel nervous and, ooh, what if this goes wrong? There's your answer. Hey, I just finished my time machine. Will you travel forward or back, and why? Mike, you've got some very interesting questions. Here's the thing. There's no such thing as time. That's cool. I'm clairvoyant. Me too. There's no such thing as time, really. Humans have made time. There is no forward or backward. Okay, it's not linear like we think. So you can go anywhere you want. You can go forward, backward, different dimensions, whatever. But if I were to pick a time, I love the era of vaudeville. You know, late 1800s, early 1900s. That's an era that I very much like. The 20s, 30s, 40s. That time, I'm pretty sure I lived during that time, to be honest with you. So I would say that I wouldn't mind going back there. But really, any place would be cool to me. I actually heard this voice on the phone. It was so surreal. Oh, I believe you. I believe you. Flappers. Yeah, I like flappers. My grandma was a flapper. Maybe my grandma was my friend then. I don't know. Never know. All right, kids, are we close to 8 o'clock? That's a good question. I actually posted a thing about past lives, and truly I believe that I lived a succession of short past lives in the last century or two. Like, it feels like from about middle of 1800 till about 1970 when I was born into this life. I feel like I had a succession of fast, really exciting lives. I also think there was some kind of connection to kids, because I never wanted to have kids. I don't have kids, but kids love me. So I think there was something with kids. Do I live on the water? Yes, I am on a boat. That's why you see things swaying in the background. I am on a boat. It's called the Mediumship. It's a catamaran in Florida. Pretty cool, right? Just moved here September. It's really cool. Yeah. All right. You think you were killed in a past life, says Patricia? That's possible. So, it doesn't matter. It's just meat soup. Meat soup, guys. This doesn't matter. This means nothing. Only means something when you're here. He moved in with me. We got up the other morning and all the cabinets were open. Yep. Could happen. Spirit energy. Hi, Amy. Hi, Scooter. Yeah, yeah. Look, anything that happens where you guys go, whoa, that's weird, it's real. Why would you think it's not real? Why don't you trust yourselves? In the Bhagavad Gita, it states we live 8,400,000 species before taking human form. Yeah, I believe it. How many guides do I have? I can't count them. I don't know. I know I have lots of them. Every time I've had a reading done by somebody else who looks at my guides, they go, you have a plethora of guides, like thousands of them, because you've been around a lot. I know probably about a handful of them, probably about 6 of them. But pretty much your guides are not just guides. A lot of them are people that are your old relatives. Some of them you might know and some you might not. Old friends, people you've crossed paths with in at whatever iteration you've had. So, I mean, you're endless. We're all infinite. Because my world's been tough. My whole life has been, people don't understand me, says Patricia. No, maybe you don't understand people and you can't communicate to them, so therefore you feel misunderstood. Or maybe you're around people who just don't get you. Don't make it about you, okay? Okay, I have 3. One is my dad. The other 2 are like middle-aged man and women. That's cool, Meg. Deborah says, have you found that living on the water brings more spiritual beings into your world? You know, Deborah, that's a great question. And we're going to jump into my whole near-death experience in a minute because it has to do with water, which is funny. But what I was going to say is, I don't know if that's the case. I don't think that I have any more than I normally do. But I will say that I am more conductive on the water. I am noticing, maybe because I'm relaxed, maybe because water's conductive, maybe it's a combination of things. I don't have as much human, interruption, noise, interaction stuff. But I feel like my abilities are much more enhanced living here on the boat. I will be honest. And my readings have been really good. How can we learn our guides' names or names? It's not important. I'm just going to start by telling you that. It's not important. But if you must know, you can ask, and maybe they will give you an answer. Otherwise, name them yourself if you need to. If they don't like it, they'll let you know. So let's say you have a guide that every time it shows up, the way you know a guide is around is you feel a chill behind your neck and you see the number 3 somewhere. Let's say that's your signal. And you don't know who it is. You might say, who is this? I know that you always do that. I don't know who this is. Is this so-and-so? Is this so-and-so? You might ask if you have a feeling of who it is. If you still don't get an answer, you can just say, well, I'm going to call you George for now, or I'm going to call you, Julie for now. And that's your name. And if you don't like it, let me know or give me some signal. And they will. You just have to listen. I'm not kidding. I know it sounds weird, but true. All right. Yeah, you feel misunderstood. You feel like you don't belong on this planet. You know what, Patricia? Most people feel that way. I hate to tell you. I do too. It's not that you're misunderstood. Misunderstood implies that someone doesn't, interprets it incorrectly. I feel like, again, it's hard for you to communicate, and therefore you feel misunderstood. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like there's, the way you think is not the way everyone else here thinks. And that's not a bad thing. You don't want to be around people that don't get you, right? That's the point. Don't try to force yourself into a surrounding that doesn't work for you. That's what I've learned. I don't try to be around people that don't like what I do. People that think that I'm, the devil's whatever spawn. I don't hang around those people, right? Yeah, you feel pulled by the sea. Yeah. Okay, well, I think we're close to 8 o'clock. We're close to 8. When and how did you find out you had special abilities? Actually, that's what we're just about to talk about. The veil is thin when you let it be. I agree, Meg. Absolutely. By the way, if any of you are new to this show, we'll call it, please follow me. I appreciate it. Share, like, subscribe. All those things mean so much to me. Hi, MB. I don't even charge anymore for most of the stuff I do here on TikTok. But I do private readings, and I am getting ready to start ramping up for the new year, doing your yearly predictions. I do at least 3 cards per month, sometimes more. It's a very in-depth, year-long, month-by-month reading. Like month by month, not like I just pull 2 cards. Okay, here's February, it's in depth. It's almost an hour, I think. So if that's something that interests you, please go to my website, let me know, and I will let you know how much it is and the details. Okay, anyway, moving on. I think it's time to start the show. Let's start the show. Okay, so I've been posting little clips about like who I am and what I do and how I learned and blah, 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 blah. Just trying because I feel like I was getting off track with a lot of sunset pictures and stuff of the boat, which I know you guys love. But I also have to stick a little bit to topic. So one of the things that I was interviewed and asked was, what are some of the things that you love to do in your lives and what things you don't like to do? Well, let's talk about what I love to do. One is I love to tell stories, as you know. So one of my best stories is a true story. I'm getting warm. Is the story of how my abilities showed up and what started it all, which is my near-death experience when I was 3 years old. So let's get started, shall we? Here's the story. 1973, Cleveland, Ohio. I'm at my grandmother's house. They have an indoor pool. They have a very interesting house. It's one of those pools from the 50s. It was kind of kidney bean shaped. And it was in this big, sort of like an atrium, okay? And so there were these tall windows that went up about 15 feet high, at least, in the, like these vaulted ceilings in the room that the pool was in. Very cool, right? And these big tall plants. My grandpa always had these big tall, like jungly looking plants and stuff like this, which is ironic because the other day when we went to the botanical gardens here, I was saying this reminds me of my grandpa's pool when we were walking around botanical gardens. So we swam all the time. Every time I went over there, it didn't matter what time of year because it was all heated and indoor. My grandparents swam every morning. That was how they stayed in shape. So the rule was we weren't to get into the pool without asking first. And I was learning to swim, and I always wore those little water wings or little bubble. I don't know if you guys know what those are, but they were flotation devices. They used to slide over your arms, to keep you up, or you had it was like a styrofoam, it looked like an egg, and had a little strap that's just strapped around your belly, and you would float if you're learning to swim like a little kid. So I went in and I said, I want to swim, and Granny says, okay, after lunch. So we ate lunch. I decided, okay, I'm going to go swim. I didn't wait for anybody to come help me get in the pool. I just decided it was time to get in the pool. So I walked in there and there were steps and I stepped down and I got down to the 3rd step, which is, right about here on me, and started to sink, because I didn't know. I didn't put any water wings on, I didn't put any type of flotation device on, nothing. I didn't know what I was doing, I was a kid. So I start to sink, and I remember it like it was yesterday, I'm not gonna lie. It was like, I can tell you every detail. So I start going down into the water. And I didn't know how to hold my breath and all that stuff. So I didn't do anything right away. I just sort of was kind of like, wait, what's happening, kind of thing. And as I sunk down, this weird thing happened. Now, the reason I think it's so important to tell you guys about this part of this whole story is, first of all, it's very, very paranormal. Secondly, I was doing a reading for somebody, and she had the same experience without me even telling her my experience. She told me her experience. So I know for a fact I did not imagine this happening, okay? So I start to sink, but I wasn't scared because I didn't know what was happening, right? So I start to sink, and all of a sudden the water around me separates and becomes this bubble, and I'm in this dry bubble under the water. And I don't know why I knew to do this, but I took in this big, like this best breath I could, and hold it for a second. And as soon as I did that, all the water started pouring in. It started going up my nose, right? And I remember like a split second of that. I'm telling you guys, like a split second of like the sensation of the water going up my nose. So I started trying to scream. Like I remember like yelling like grandpa or something, like bubbles coming out of my mouth, and looking up and seeing like the water, kind of like in the promotional video I made for this, like seeing the water kind of moving around, whatever, and not really knowing what to do. So all of a sudden, it's like I just got super calm. And I was sort of standing on the bottom of the pool, and I start walking towards the deep end, which is weird. Why would I do that? I don't know. I just did. And I'm walking down the slope of the deep end, and it's like dry in there. It's not like, but it was like a room almost, not anymore the pool. And then it became this hallway with all these doors going down either side of the hallway. This long, long hallway, very white inside, very bright. And I'm just walking down this hallway, like I don't know what's happening. And I see this woman standing at the end of the hallway, and she was this big, kind of buxom-looking, taller woman, older, hair in a bun, wearing kind of old-fashioned clothes, whatever. I didn't know who she was. But she felt familiar to me. She felt like I should go to her. So she had her arms out like this, like she was waiting for me. So I walk up to her, and she puts her arms around me, and oh my gosh, the sensation was remarkable. I don't know how else to explain it. Every emotion that a human could have that is positive, happy, enlightening, beautiful, I had at that very moment when she put her arms around me. And I knew her, but I didn't know her, you know what I mean? And she was speaking to me through my mind. She wasn't using words like, talking out of her mouth, but I could hear an accent, which was funny. She had a weird accent when she talked to me, but all she said to me was, okay, Molly, you need to go back. No, little Molly, it's not your time. You need to go back. And she kind of like, shushed me, like, go this way, back up the hallway. So I was 3. I was like, oh, okay. Okay. And again, I didn't know what's happening. So, here I am marching back up this hallway. And then I start to see the water of the pool. And next thing I know, I'm looking down at the pool, watching myself being pulled out of the water by my dad in all his clothes. Okay. Because apparently my sister tattled and said, Molly got in the pool without asking. And my dad's like, what? And ran in there and jumped in the water and pulls me out. I can see myself being pulled out. I can see myself choking and crying, as they're like shaking me and all this stuff. I can see the bathing suit I had on out. I can see myself choking and crying, as they're like shaking me and all this stuff. I can see the bathing suit I had on, energy, and then suddenly it's like this really heavy, like, and that's why I was crying, not because I was scared, not because people were upset, because I was, it's funny because I found my baby book, and my mother had written, I hope you guys can still hear me. My mother had written in the baby book, about that incident. And then later she said, it's so cute, Molly has a little imaginary friend now named Fudgy. And I remember laying in my, I don't know if it was a crib or a playpen or what I was laying in. And these orange curtains above my head were sort of like floating like in the wind while I was napping or something, because I could see my feet, and I saw the orange curtains sort of float out flat over me like a blanket, like hanging over me. And then looking and seeing that same guide I saw at the end of the hallway standing over me. And then I did start to see spirits more, and it scared me as a little kid. At first I wasn't terribly scared. But when I told adults about it, and their response to me made me scared. And what I saw on TV made me scared. So any parents who have children that talk about imaginary friends or things that they see at night, don't automatically tell them it's something bad or scary. Because most of the time, no, it's not. What I know now is that most of the time spirit interaction is totally not there to scare or hurt anybody. But the way that we hype it up in this world, and the energy that we give it, and the crappy energy that's floating around in the world right now, guess what? We see a lot more of it than you should, really. Because there isn't that much negative energy like we think, okay, as far as when people pass on. Because when you pass on, it's such a glorious experience. Why would you stick around here? It's crap, comparably. This isn't even reality. That's reality. I know that sounds weird, but that is reality. This is a movie that we're all in. We don't even realize it. Dana says, I used to hear a man's voice in my head. He would always count, and it used to scare me so bad. Oh, I would see men standing at the end of my bed staring at me. I used to have this repeated vision of this coffin on the side of the hill of where we lived, going down the hillside with somebody I knew in it. Like I had all sorts of... So that was the first story. So that was my near-death experience. So before I even launch into anything else, does anybody have questions or things that I may not have answered? Because the next story also is linked to that. So... Oh, and let me also start by saying that one of the problems also as a child with intuitive abilities that are misunderstood, and especially in the 70s, people didn't totally get it yet. Like, people are more in tune with it now, you know, with all the shows and stuff that are on. But back then, it wasn't really a thing that people talked about that much. Was that it was considered mental illness, and still is sometimes. Not saying that everybody's mental illness is psychic and that's misunderstood. I would never say that. But there are a lot of instances in my life where it was mental illness. There was nothing wrong with me. And I even have instances in my life where it was mental illness. There was nothing wrong with me. And I even have proof of, you know, what occurred shows that it wasn't my imagination. You know what I mean? Hi, Keen. So that's where we are. So did any of my relatives have this gift? That's a great question. I have a cousin who claims that she does. Since I started doing it, she reached out to me and said, I have abilities, but I don't know to what extent. I believe my grandma did, but my grandma on my dad's side never said a word about it, but I have a feeling she did because she was one of the first spirits I really saw a lot of and have a lot of communication with in the beginning. My great-great-grandma Hancha, who is the spirit that I saw at the end of the hallway and by my bedside, I believe she would have had ability because she comes through extremely strong. I've channeled her, and that's part of the story I'm going to tell you guys. And I'm going to say I have Belarusian roots, in addition to, you know, German, French, Lithuanian, a lot of other stuff. And I know Belarus is also known to have gypsies. You know, so there could be something there that I'm not aware of yet. I've never really delved into it too far, but I'm going to say all of us have ability, again, varying levels. Just like I suck at math, but my brother's great at it, you know, and that's just, we're same family, same parents. So, you know, you got to look at it. It is a sense. It's not extra sensory perception. It is enhanced sensory perception because it is a sense we all have. We all have gut feelings. We all have them. It's a fact. Nobody can argue with that. We all have gut feelings. That's your intuition. That's your ability. And don't tell me that you don't think about somebody and suddenly you see a post by them, or they call you, or they text you, or you find out something happened to them, or their song comes on that reminds you of them. Happens all the time, right? Coincidence. Bullshit. There's no such thing. All right. End of story 1. That was the near-death experience story. Any questions before we move on to the next story? And this story is a whopper, guys. But a true story, not a whopper as in it's fake. It's true. Because I couldn't make this shit up. All right, I'm going to launch into the next story unless I see any other questions. Tonight's story time, everybody. And believe me, these are good stories. You're not going to believe. If you don't want to watch, just listen. Because these are going to be all on podcasts and stuff, too. All right? All right, go into the story. No questions. Okay, I think this was 2019, right before the pandemic started. Right before. Oh, Racy, thanks. It's cool if they want to ask questions, but I might not see it, so, you know. Hi, Hannah. Kyo. So, I had a boyfriend named Brian, and we lived together in California, and a lot of my abilities started to really start ramping up around 2018, 19-ish. A lot of people had the same experience. I think it's by design, but I have no idea why this happened. And it was getting so noticeable that he kept saying to me, yeah, you need to get help, you need to find a mentor, you need, you know, someone help you, because you don't know what's happening and it's freaking me out a little bit, and I know you're a little freaked out. That was kind of the conversation. Okay. So I was kind of delving into it more, paying more attention to it. Started writing a lot of stuff in my journals. As a matter of fact, I was just talking about this with Fred last night. I'm going to share you guys with my journal at some point in the near future of that time period, because I wrote about everything that's happening right now in the world. I wrote about it. I drew pictures. I swear to you, I've shown them here before. They were so accurate. It's creepy. So there was a story on the news. This is when I used to watch the news, about a woman who had just gone missing. It's been almost exactly 4 years. Yeah, because this happened right before Christmas. Okay, like the week before Christmas. Her name was Jill, and it caught my attention because that's a relative of mine's name. And so I kind of looked up, you know, what's this all about? And the news were saying that she had left a friend's house in Paso Robles, which is a very small, not a big deal town. Okay, and never got home. Nobody knows where she went. She grew up there. She knew the area really well. There wasn't any traffic or anything like that. You know, it didn't make any sense. They went along the route she should have taken, not there, whatever. So this was on the news for a couple of days, and I didn't really pay much attention to it at first. I'm like, oh, you know, that sucks. You know, that's all I think. So that sucks. And we get up one morning, I think it was a Saturday, and I just suddenly was like, the news came on, they showed the story again, and I'm just like, I gotta go find her. Like, and I heard my guide, the one with the accent, saying, you gotta find her, go find her, go find her, go find her. You gotta find her, you can find her, you can find her. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I say to my boyfriend, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And he goes, well, we'll get a pen and paper and, write it down or something. And I'm like, okay, so I'm writing all this stuff down. And I'm writing all these facts down, or whatever information I'm getting. And I don't know what I'm saying. And I'd written down stuff about, like, stuff I was seeing and things that I was feeling and all this stuff. And in the meantime, my boyfriend, and God love him at the time for supporting me, because he wasn't terribly supportive normally, but this he was interested in. He starts gathering up blankets and water and food and pylons and flashlights and all this stuff, because he's going to help me find this woman. Okay. I am determined. I feel it. I hear this voice tell me, go find her, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And I'm just like, under all this pressure from some unseen voice telling me to go find this woman I've never met before and I knew nothing about. All right. So we go to get in the car, and I look at my map app thing, and I say, I think I know where she is. And I don't know why I said that. And I point to a certain area on the map. And he goes, okay, we'll drive that way. And so we drove almost an hour away from where we lived. Again, but I knew the area a little bit. So we get up there, and we start driving this route. And I said, I'm visualizing this piece of a culver. You know how culvers have, like, the rings, like a metal tube. So there was a slice of it I saw on the side of the road, like just a ring, basically, like an onion ring would be, in my vision. And so I said, I see this piece of culver, metal culver. And so we drive up to this one area, and every time we went around this one turn, I would feel this strong feeling, and I'd hear, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, get out of the car, go find her, go find her. And I'm like, ah! So sure enough, we get to this corner, and we jump out, and there's this piece of metal I was mentioning. And Brian's like, oh my God, Molly, he's like, we gotta find her. So we're honking our horn, we're yelling, we're screaming her name, we're looking, we're walking around in the brush, and I had a really bad back, so it was really hard for me. It's really getting cold, it was damp. Not finding her. And we drove all over that area every way we could think, except for one way, because it was a way that was closed off. All right. But every time I kept coming back to that same spot, and I kept saying, I feel like we're very close, So it gets to be 3 p.m, and we're tired, and we have not found her. Nothing. Okay. And I'm standing there, and all of a sudden, I am so cold, I can barely stop my teeth from chattering. I'm like freezing. And I had already envisioned this inside of this little compact car, and I'm sitting in the car, and see how this is sort of dangling? There's an Asian amulet kind of thing hanging from the mirror. It looks like a red tassel with like a jade carving or something. I don't know what those are called, but it's hanging from the mirror. And I'm sort of like tilted downward a little bit in these trees. And I'm realizing what had happened was, on my way home, meaning I was channeling her, I dropped something on the floor or something shifted in the car, and I went to reach to get it, and as I did it, I turned the wheel like this, and I was going faster than I probably should have been, and the car just launched, and I ended up in these trees, and so I'm facing like this, and I don't know what to do, and I've already been there for a few days, I'm cold, I've already pissed myself, I had some water in the car and snacks, I've already gone through those. I'm afraid to move because the car is like basically balanced in these trees, and I know down below is this lake. Okay, Lake Nacimiento, by the way. And if I come out of the trees, even if I make, the car gets down to the bottom, I'm going to drown because I can't get out of the car. The car was, smashed. And so that's the position I saw. Okay, I felt, right? And so it gets to be 3 o'clock in the afternoon. All of a sudden, I'm getting very cold. I turn to Brian. I'm chattering. I can't breathe. I'm trying to catch my breath. He goes, are you okay? And he says, are you having a panic attack? What's wrong? He goes, you're white as a ghost. And I was like, like this. And I go, I feel like I'm drowning. I feel like I'm drowning. And he goes, oh my God, are you all right? And I'm like, I don't know. And then I kept hearing, like all this like noise in my head. Like, I don't know how to explain, like static. And then it was just dead silent. Just complete loss of energy. I almost collapsed. Okay, you guys, and this wasn't something I was used to. This was new to me. Okay, so he comes over, gets me back in the car, and I'm like in tears. I'm crying. I'm going, she's gone. And he felt it too. And he goes, I know, it's over. Okay, so it gets weirder. This is not the end of the story, guys. Not the end of the story. It's just the beginning. So we get in the car and we start going home. Now, I told you guys, this is off the 101, almost an hour. north of where we lived. We get in the car. He's driving. We're both crying. We say nothing. Now, if you know me, for me not to say anything, it's major, all right? I don't even know what to say or think. I'm just flipped out. All of a sudden, we're home. We're at our exit. Like that. Like, instantly, we're at our exit. And I turn to Brian and I go, did I just miss something? He goes, oh my God, I'm glad it's not just me. He goes, me too. He goes, what? How did we get here? Like, we both experienced this weird time shift where suddenly we were at our exit. Like, it literally was like we got in the car, we buckled our seatbelt, we started driving, and then there's our exit. We're like, what the hell just happened here? I mean, now where I am in life, I understand all this stuff. But at the time, it was like, what the, you know, like I thought I was losing my damn mind. If he hadn't been with me, I would have definitely thought I was losing my mind. But there was somebody else experiencing it, right? So we get home and we're still kind of in a daze. And I said, well, maybe we're in shock. You know, we're trying to like explain it away. You know, maybe we're in shock, blah, blah, blah. We walk into our apartment. I sit down. He flips the TV on. And sure enough, there's that damn story again. And now, guess what? At 3 o'clock that afternoon, they found her in her car at the bottom of the lake, and apparently she'd gone the way that was blocked off because she wanted to take a scenic route. She grew up there and knew she could go around the barrier. Went the wrong way around. That's why they didn't find her. Somehow she ended up off the road, exactly what I said. Then they also talked about her life, which she worked in Asian studies, which is something I talked about, that tassel hanging from her mirror. I also had mentioned something about her volunteering at the animal shelters. They talked about that. I also mentioned a nickname that I came up with in my mind, Jelly Beans. That was her nickname. There was a lot of things that happened. Freaked me out completely. Then I felt like I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, should I call her family? Should I go to the funeral? Should I tell somebody what I felt? You know, and then I thought about it and I thought, well, how would that help anybody but me? You know, and I don't know if it would even help me. I didn't know what to do. You know, and I really went into a deep depression for a few days. I was just like, it was right around the holidays, and I was like, I don't know what to do about this. So, story's not over, guys. It gets even better. So Brian says to me, why don't you go to the Halcyon store? This is this little cute old 100-something-year-old post office metaphysical store, blah, blah, blah. Okay, up the road. We used to buy, things there, like candles and shit like that. And he says, they do classes there, maybe, do a workshop and find out what's going on, because you're having way too many things happen and you don't understand and, you need help. So I found out that there was a workshop by this guy named Mike Smith. And apparently he was, like, really, really high desert, really, really this talented medium, okay? And apparently he has an entity called Father Thomas that talks through him and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Whatever. I just need help. And it was $20 to go to this thing. So I drive up the road that night, pay my $20, walk, and there's about 15 people in there. I don't know anybody in there. Nobody's really introducing themselves to each other of all ages, mostly women. There was like 1 or 2 men there, plus the guy, Michael Smith, who was teaching the class. In this room, not a very big room. In a big circle. He doesn't have us introduce each other, nothing like that. He just explains that we're going to learn a few techniques on how to channel energies. And in my mind, I thought channeling was just like, doing mediumship kind of thing. Like, like seeing if you can talk to a dead person. Which I already kind of did. So I thought, well, this will help me control it or learn how to, do it better or whatever. And so he launches and, we did a little, I'm sorry, froze. So he goes into this little room he made that had like a big velvet curtain around this like PVC pipe frame, right? With basically with a stool in the middle. He goes in there and we all kind of do whatever he said. I don't know, it wasn't a prayer, but it was some kind of a incantation. It wasn't anything weird. It was just this channeling session of this Father Tom. And we could hear him. We couldn't see him. But he sounded completely different. His voice was different. He had an accent. He was saying a lot of very interesting things. He was quite pleasant. And so then he, closes. I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm doing the best I can. But I will try to upload this later. I've been having trouble with the uploads lately, too. I apologize. There's a little bit of wind. It might be causing a problem. All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to continue. So he says, okay, so who wants to go next? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm hearing somebody again saying to me, go, 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 go. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I just put it on just a minute ago, like a second ago. Probably frozen. I don't know what to tell you. So I'm hearing, you know, some spirit behind me. And by the way, my back was against a wall, telling me and kind of touching me, like to go into this closet thing. And finally, he just turns right to me and he says, the spirit just told me to tell you it's your turn. He looks at me. I've never met this guy. All right? Yeah. So I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, whatever. So I go into this little closet, we'll call it. And there's these 15 people I don't know all in the room saying whatever to me, and I'm sitting there. As I walk in there, I start vibrating. Like my whole body is vibrating, like madly. 33 people, oh, my favorite number. Yeah, that's probably true, Magical. She says all is good. She's on the water, probably attracting other spirits. You know what? Since I've been on the mediumship, I haven't had any orbs show up, I don't believe, or fairies yet. But I know it's going to happen because it happens all the time. You guys have probably seen it, but anyway, back to this story. So I go into this closet. I start vibrating madly. Like I'm like this is like this, and it scared me. I didn't know what's going on. I'm like, what is wrong with me? And I go in there and I start feeling really strange. And they asked me something. I don't know what they asked me. And I started just talking. But when I started talking, it wasn't my voice. And I had this weird German/Yiddish sounding accent. And I'm just mouthing off to everybody in the room. And I'm calling people by name in the room, apparently. And saying things to each person in the room in a specific way. Like, hey, Wendy, you tried to make cookies the other day and you forgot the sugar, haha, you know, and hey, Jackie, your dog has a bad toenail, that's why she's limping, and, you know, and I just, like, went around the room to everybody in there. First of all, I couldn't see anybody, I was in this closet thing. Secondly, it wasn't my own voice. And I'm listening like it's somebody else talking out of my own mouth. Finally, Michael says, okay, who is that's talking? And I say, Hancha. This is Hancha. And he says, well, Hancha, it's time for you to, you know, let Molly go, or let the girl, he didn't know my name, he said, let the woman go that's in there, and, you know, give it a break, you know, like stop, basically, like nicely trying to say, you know, now you need to leave so other people can have their turn. And I said, or she says, I'm not done yet. And she keeps talking about something else. And finally he says, okay, it's time to shut down now, Hancha. Okay. So then I'm sitting there and I am sweating, sweating like you've never seen. I am just like dripping sweat. And it's pretty cold. It's a cold night. And I have all this like weird sticky goo all over me. Like it feels like gel almost, like, you know, like I had a film all over me. I'm gonna guess ectoplasm. That's the only thing I can think of. I have no idea how that works. I don't know. I don't totally understand that stuff. I mean, I kind of do, but at the time I didn't know what was going on. I come out of the room and everybody's like this, looking at me like that, and I'm like flipped out. I don't understand what happened. So I go sit down in my chair and I'm just sitting there like I don't know if I'm embarrassed, excited, freaked out, what. And I feel gross, but I'm just so stunned. So I'm sitting there, and he goes, wow, well, that was quite an experience. How do you feel, or something? I'm like, I can't even talk right now. Like, just let me chill for a second. So then he says, who wants to go next? And everybody's like, not me. And then all of a sudden, this really mousy woman who had barely even peeped during the entire thing, like before when he was doing examples and stuff, goes, I think I want to go, like this, like, you know, a little mousy voice. And I'm thinking, oh, good luck to you, mama, you know. So she goes in there, closes the curtain, and she starts mumbling something about outer space and mumbling, I don't know, she was saying, I don't know, who knows what, you know. And you could tell she was a little nervous. And I'm sitting there just trying to, like, chill. And then she suddenly says, Molly. Now, remember, nobody was introduced in this room, okay? She says, Molly, the lady of the lake says, thank you. And when she said it, I felt a hand on my shoulder. Now, again, as I said, my back was to the wall. I have a hard time telling this part of the story because I always get super emotional. But it was like, what the fuck? You know? What the hell? Anyway, it was weird. Very weird. And, of course, I burst into tears immediately. So then after she came out of there, she didn't understand what happened, you know, because she had never done anything like that before. And she was like, she's like, I don't know why I said that, or I don't know what, and she was like all tripped out. So I don't remember the rest of the night. There a few other people did something. I don't even know. I was just like, what the hell, And so it was over. And I walk over to her and the woman, and I said, hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm Molly, and I understood your message, and thank you for telling me. And she freaked out. She's like, oh my God, I didn't even know who I was talking to. I didn't know, I'm like, okay, well, I'm okay. So I go back to my apartment. I'm pretty tripped out about it. Oh, I left important part out. And this has to do with spirit guides, since you guys have a lot of interest in that. Before we did all that stuff, let me back up. He had us do an exercise where we got to meet our spirit guides. Like he did like a guided meditation. I've done them with you guys before, and we will do those soon again, okay? And he did a guided meditation to meet our spirit guides. And I met a couple of them, but one of them happened to be the woman I saw when I drowned. And she identified herself as Hancha, okay? Then when I was in the channeling booth, we'll call it, it was Hancha, this woman, this German Yiddish woman. Okay, so I get home from this whole thing. I'm telling Brian the whole story, and he's like, wow. And he says to me, maybe that's a relative of yours. Have you ever thought about asking your mom? So I text my mother, and I said, is there anybody in our family named Hancha? H-O-N-C-H-A. And she says, oh, yeah, that's your grandma Yetta. Another funny name, right? I said, Yetta. She goes, Henrietta. She went by Yetta. But her nickname was Hancha, means head of the household in Yiddish, like head honcho. Hancha was the female version, head of the household. She was very bossy, big German Yiddish woman, Eastern European woman, big buxom. And then she says, remember, we used to have her picture by the piano. And I'm like, oh my God, yes. So that's my spirit guide. Now, here's where it gets even weirder. Two other weird little factoids about this story. First of all, 33 has always been my special number, 33, which is a big, very spiritual number I now know, but I didn't know that at the time. It always was my number. It always was lucky for me. Grandma Hancha died in 1933. Number one. The second thing that was really bizarre is, and I have a video in here, I'll repost it for you guys or update it. Last year, I was in Texas, right about this time. I'm actually going this week, too. And my mother says, I want to give you a picture of Grandma Hancha, because you said that you feel that she's your guide, and, I want you to have it. And I'm like, cool. So I have the picture. I look at the picture, and I realize one of my closest colleagues right here on TikTok is a dead ringer for her. She even agreed. Guys. If you guys know Carla Free Spirit, she's a Reiki healer. We became friends through TikTok. We've become very close friends. I swear she looks identical to my great-great-grandma. Great-great-great-grandma Hancha. Great-great. 2 greats, I think. She looks identical. I'm not kidding. How does that happen? Whatever. That's a wacky story, right? True. And that's when it all started for me. I'm doing now. And then it was like about another over a year went by before I even did anything, other than have experiences. Yeah, it was pretty major. Yeah. Pretty major, guys. Life-changing for me. I always think about that. And you know what I really got, the takeaway I got more than anything was, first of all, I have guides that are looking out for me and trying to push me to be my best self. Grandma Hancha is the one who pushes me when there's stuff I don't want to do, that I need to do. Has she ever been contacted by your great-great-great grandmother? Who? My friend? I don't know. I don't think so. She would have told me, I'm sure. It is a true story. Yeah, it is a great story. So I'm actually a scientist, but I've always had this draw to your community. Well, there is some science involved in it, actually, magical. There really is a lot of science. You should watch Billy Carson. Billy Carson is really knowledgeable. Yeah. So that was just one of many things that happened during that time. That was right before COVID, okay? And then it was funny because one of the things I had done was I had a rubber bat in my house, for Halloween. And I put it in my car and hung it for my rearview mirror. And I called it Rona, after Rona Barrett, because she, you know, Bat, I called her Rona Bat, because Rona Bat had always had a funny speech impediment. So I called her Rona Bat, and it was a joke. Then guess what ended up happening? The coronavirus they were claiming was due to a bat. Now we all know that's probably not true, but whatever, I don't care. Okay. Point being is, I had a premonition. I had also written about it in my journal. I did. Way before any of this happened. I wrote about what's happening in Russia right now. I wrote about the disclosure thing that's happening right now. I drew pictures of it. Yeah, it's all my journals. I'll show you guys another night. We'll do that. We'll definitely do a... I also do predictions, by the way. I did predictions on Leslie Fear's Because I Want to Know podcast. It was like May or something, or April. I have to tell you guys, when I recorded that podcast, I was very nervous. I told Fred, I said, people are going to think I'm crazy. I talk a lot about aliens and disclosure and all these crazy things happening. Guys, everything's happened. Everything I said. And I was specific. I even talked about fast food. About people changing their eating habit because of what they're finding out fast food is, and even their spending habits because of the poisons they've been giving us. Yeah. Yeah. So you're on the water. I'm taking my first cruise on Thursday. Do you have motion sickness? Hi, Jennifer. Actually, yes, I live on a catamaran. It's a 35-foot boat, I think. Yeah, 35-foot boat. It's got 4 cabins and 2 bathrooms. I am in the salon area, which is sort of the top living room. It's like this big rounded couch with my dogs right now. I do not get motion sickness, and I do not get boat sick. Never have, never will. So, nope, not a problem for me. Thank God. I mean, we were talking about that today. I said, man, it would suck if I got motion sickness. This would suck. Okay, so that was my second favorite story. Do you guys want me to continue with some paranormal stories? I can tell you guys what happened with the fairy thing. That's kind of a fun story, and I actually have videos on here you guys can watch about that. I hope I don't. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Well, you'll find out. Just take some stuff with you. Ginger's very good for upset tummy. Thank you. Thank you. Let me tell you guys about the fairy stuff, since it kind of is along the same lines. So I've gotten a lot of orbs during my life. So you guys, some of you have seen them. I've had a lot of actual activity during my lives. It happens. It's been a while, but it happens. And so one day I'm on a live, and this is in Kentucky, the other place I live, and this thing flies out, and I'm looking around going, what the hell, you know, and it's in my profile, guys. You can find it. It's on my YouTube. It's on all my channels. Let me tell you guys about the swinging spirit too. Remind me about the swing spirit. Okay, but anyways, it looks like a fairy. I don't know how else to describe it. It's this, looks like a little figure with wings, and it flew up. First you see it by my breast. It's like right here, there's like 3 little bright lights that almost look like stars. I don't know how else to describe them. Really bright little stars right by my breast here. And then they go like this, and then they go behind me. Then all of a sudden you see this thing go swooping out, goes right up in front of me, dangles there for a second, then flies off. And you see me watch it. Like, I saw it with my eyes, not just on the camera. Jennifer says, you sent me one of your lucky pennies the end of last year. This year we're cruising. I used to send out lucky pennies. I don't know if you guys remember that. Yeah, manifesting pennies. That was fun, that little campaign, wasn't it? You were there. Yeah, you were, Racy. So I even had it authenticated. I sent it to my friend Joshua P. Warren, who's very big in the poltergeist and metaphysical community. He's on TV all the time. He's one of my favorite people in the world. He authenticated it. He had people look at it, and they said, it is unexplainable. There's no way you could have produced that. You know. So anyway, so that happened. So then I start getting tripped out because I have a lot of these orb videos. I go back and start watching my orb videos, and I'm not very good at editing you guys, or I'd have way more up on there, but at some point I'm sure it'll get compilated in some way. But anyway, and there's more of them that look like that. When I was able to actually stop the video, and this is the thing, they're so fast sometimes, they're so hard to catch. But even stopping the videos, I can see some have that very same shape. They're not just an orb. They're actually sort of this like little body. All right. So then I started getting very interested in this whole thing because they were showing up a lot I was getting orbs every time I was on a live. There were orbs all over the place. And so I started to notice they were coming out of a particular part of a cabinet behind me. I used to have this cabinet with all my tchotchkes behind me. And I realized that there was a fairy deck there of cards. Okay, so this follows up to recent stuff that happened, you guys, if you've been following along. So there's this fairy deck of cards that I don't particularly like because someone gave them to me and I just thought they were kind of cheesy or whatever. And I wasn't really a fairy person. I mean, fairies are cute and all, but I didn't really believe in that stuff at the time. Okay. Thought it was kind of, even in what I do, I just thought it was sort of like, you know, mystical fun stuff, you know. And so I made a video and I said, I'm going to move the deck and we're going to see if it changes anything. Right? And so I moved the deck to the center shelf. Sure enough, I think it was a couple days later, I'm doing a live and I'm talking and I can see that one of the lights in there is flashing on and off, on and off, on and off. I had just put new batteries in all of the lights before I even went on the live that day. And that one particular light right by the fairy deck is going flash, flash, flash. Again, I have a video of it. Because I said, look at behind me. So then I'm starting going, wow, maybe, you know, there is something to this. You know, maybe I'm not really, I should give it a little more information. So then I start figuring out that, you know, I have ties to druidry, first of all, which I'm not completely familiar with. I'm learning about. But I start learning about fairies, okay? And fairies do, it's different than people think. I do think they're real now. I really do. I had an incident of a fairy sighting when I lived in Georgia right before that. I was standing in the back of the house and I looked out and I saw this thing that I thought was a dragonfly. Came right up to me, floated in front of my face, and then I had a memory lapse for a good hour. Like, I didn't remember exactly what happened. I knew something happened, but I couldn't remember what it was. Then when I remembered what it was, I was kind of tripped out because it wasn't something I had experienced before. And then when Leslie was interviewing me one time on her podcast, she asked me if I'd ever seen a fairy. So I told her the story of what I saw. And what I saw looked like a little alien, like had an almond face with big black almond-looking eyes. It was about yay big, okay? Had long arms, long spindly fingers, about 3 fingers it looked like, long legs, these long spindly feet with, again, like 3 looking feet, finger-looking things, and wings, like a dragonfly looking, and it made that weird, like this weird buzzing sound, okay? And so I remembered what I saw. I even drew a little picture of it, and then Leslie says, you got to go watch this video. These English kids are, you know, cavorting around the forest with their dad being videotaped, or, you know, camera taped or whatever. And sure enough, same thing. They hear this like buzzing and they see this thing, they think it's a dragonfly, and they go, Daddy, look, you know, and they go running up at the camera, and sure enough, it looks exactly like what I saw. So then I start delving into it and I start finding fairies, like, yeah, they look like that. So they're probably extraterrestrial, that's my guess, or interdimensional. Anyway, fast forward. So I have this thing where they're showing up and flying around me, and you guys are seeing them, and I'm seeing them, and I don't even understand what's going on. Well, right before we came back to the mediumship, this just happened, you guys. I did a live, and we talked about this. I told the story. I even brought the deck of cards out. I said, I'm going to use this deck of cards, this fairy deck, which I almost never use, tonight, because, you know, that it seems to want attention. So that whole night, I used that deck, and it actually worked out really well with what we were doing. I think we even had an orb or two during that night. I'm not for sure, but either way, I get off the live, I walk downstairs, I start taking my clothes off because I'm thinking I'm going to take a shower or something, because I'm usually pretty hot after I do these things. And I start to walk into our bedroom, and we're in Kentucky, okay, not here on the boat. And we live, the place we live in Kentucky, we're on 55 acres. Nobody is near us at all. There are no street lights. It is pitch black, other than the stars. There are animals everywhere, you know, deer and bears and, you know, you name it. They're all around. We're on a mountainside or a hillside or whatever. Very, very, very removed from the city or anybody. If somebody came up our driveway, we would know, okay? And plus our neighbor would tell us. So we're sitting there, you know, Fred's in the living room, he's listening to music or whatever he's doing. I walk in to go get undressed, and I'm standing in the doorway. Oh, you were there, Courtney? That's right. I'm standing in the doorway of my bedroom, and I look outside, and our bedroom window, which is 12 feet off the ground, by the way, and there's no ladder or anything out there, okay? I look up, and all of a sudden, I see a face and wings flapping around, and somebody go bang, 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 across the window, like desperately, like let me in, you know, that kind of thing. But it was like more than one thing. Like it was a bunch of them. I don't know how else to describe it. And I'm flipping the F out, and I'm going, Fred, 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 like this, and I'm like frozen. Like I'm in my underwear, standing there looking at the window, going, Fred, 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 like this. And finally, I get his attention, and you know he had his headphones on, so he didn't hear what I heard. But I go, oh my God, there's somebody in the window. Oh my God, there was this, you know, and I couldn't even get it out of my mouth. Like I couldn't like articulate. So he jumps up, you know, runs outside to see what's going on, to see if somebody's out there. And he goes out there and I follow him out there and he's looking at me puzzled because our car's running. 10 o'clock at night, I think it was. Our car is running. Now, I can tell you the car was absolutely off, number one. And weirdly enough, this is the funny part, was earlier that day I said to Fred, because it was a new car, or not new to us, I said, we need to take our keys in the house. Like, we had left one in the car. I said, because the car can be started if the key is near the car. We don't want the keys in the, you know, left in the car. So let's make sure we get the keys in the house, and, you know, and that way we don't forget, because I kept leaving the spare in the car. So we knew both of the keys were in the house, because we very specifically made a point of bringing them in the house. The car was at least 30 yards away, at least. The keys have to be, first of all, near the car to start it. You have to be sitting in the seat with your foot on the brake, and then you have to push a button to start the car. So Fred walks out there, the car starts itself. He gets in the car to try to shut it off. It will not turn off. He turns it off, it turns itself back on. Yeah. I'm pretty tripped out. I'm pretty friggin' tripped out at that point. So he comes back in the house, and I start explaining to him. I said, I think those were fairies again. And they looked like little weird aliens. And they were so bright blue light, like this bright, like ultraviolet light, I could barely look. It was so bizarre. And they were pounding the window, like, bah, 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 bah. And I say they because it felt like multiple. But I only saw one face. So I posted about it right after it happened. I was like, both of us were like, I mean, it's one thing if I'm alone and that shit happens, it freaks me out pretty bad. But, you know, to tell somebody the story, it's like, whatever. But when somebody else is sitting right there, yes, magical. So I said to him, maybe that's a warning. And we'd almost gotten an accident earlier that day. So it was kind of a weird day to begin with. Yeah, I was a little, I don't want to say scared. I just didn't understand. And that's what bothered me. So after that happened, I'm like, yeah, I didn't sleep well. I did not sleep well because I was like, what the fuck? But we were just about to leave to come back to the boat. So I said to Fred, I wonder if they're telling us to get out of here. Like, get out of here. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. So sure enough, next day we left. And when we got back here, the weather was getting really bad, like really bad. And we barely were able to get on the dinghy and get back to our boat safely. It was like huge winds, all this crazy stuff started happening. And I think had we left a day later than that, we would not have been able to get back on our boat. We would have come to Miami and been like, shit, we can't get on our boat. Because it's unsafe sometimes to get off the dinghy, our little boat with a little motor, with the dogs, to try to get on a boat when, you know, there's these huge waves and you're flapping around, right? So we get back on the boat and we realize, like, that must have been what it was, you know, like, but then we did have a crazy storm, and that was hell. But anyway, so another, I'm going to say fairy visitation. And now I don't joke about it anymore. I don't make fun of it. I don't think it's cute. You know, fairies. I think maybe it's the wrong word for them, but yeah, guys, they're real. Whatever this is, it's real. And believe me, the Irish and the Scottish, they take, and the English and the Welsh, they take it very seriously. They take fairies and fae dead seriously. They see them, they talk about them. I really suspect that they are interdimensional extraterrestrials of some sort. That's my suspicion. Conduits, they send message. Yes, they do. Iceland too, yeah. Yeah. But I realized they were trying to help me. And I did leave sweets out for them. Someone told me, leave sweets out for them. And I did. I left some cookies out and some tea. And they've been nice. And they did warn us about other things also. The other thing that happened was later that night we were sitting there talking, and then something in our living room just fell over. We're still doing some construction. There was like a tall, like I think it was a paint roller or something, just fell over on its own. I was in the bathroom, and Fred was in the living room, and a mirror in our bedroom just suddenly flopped over and broke into 100 pieces for no reason. Just fell. A lot of activity in that house. Lots. And there's a lot of stuff that belongs to a lot of relatives that have passed in that house too. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. But definitely fae energy. I believe it now. Now, since we've been on the boat, I don't think we've had anything specific happen, but I will say that I have heard a lot more voices than I used to, like noises of people talking and things like that. And I don't think it's people in the boats around us. I really do feel like it's like in my mind hearing, you know, like psychic energy. But my folies have been really good. Now, KW, you said you had a story to share. What was your story, hon? Thanks for sticking with me and hearing my stories. Yeah. Well, I think that house where I saw the one fae, the one in Georgia where we were staying, I'm pretty sure it was built on an indigenous property. Because had a lot of weird incidents that tell me there was Native American activity there, probably. Yeah. Lost and found testimony. Oh, really? What happened? Tell us. Tell us what happened. KW says, lost and found testimony. Yes, my foli, founder of lost items. If you don't know, I do that sometimes. No. No, Charlie. No. Matter of fact, I did predictions about that. Yes, Florida has huge temples and pyramids. I'm hearing this, yeah. There's a lot of activity here in Florida, yeah. So I asked about a pair of AirPods missing. Was that one that I posted a video for you? Or was that one we did on live? I remember that, though. I can't remember if it was a live or I did it as a video. Anyways, you found them? Where'd you find them? On live, okay. That was a while ago, wasn't it? I might have been in Kentucky even when that. Where'd you find them? What did I tell you? Remind me. Tell everybody here. And I would love if you did a little video. That'd be great. You don't have to show your face. You can just show the AirPods and say, Molly found my thing. Or write me a letter telling me what happened or whatever. Anyway, tell us the story. You said they were in a case or compartment. Okay. How long ago was that? I got another good story for you guys. Got quite a few. Maybe a month ago. Okay. And were they where I said, or tell us how you found them? KW. They were found in the back of my son's car in a small compartment. Did I say something about a car? I probably did. I think I remember that. Yay! That's so exciting. Yay! I'm so happy for you. That's amazing. Sharon says, I'm missing my debit card. Cannot find it anywhere. I know I had it here at home. Can you help? Hey, Amy. I wasn't going to... You said they were inside something. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember what I said, honestly, but that's cool. I'm really happy for you. That's super cool. Yay. Yay. Hey, Buffy. I wasn't going to be doing anything like that tonight. It's more of story time tonight. You're welcome. Anytime. Like I said, if you would post a testimonial, that'd mean a lot to me. I don't care if you don't want to do it on TikTok, you want to do another one, that's cool. It's all good. All right. I have a lot of good ghost stories or poltergeist or whatever stories about things you found right after you bought a new pair. Yeah, that does happen, doesn't it? Well, no, I have more than one. A backup pair. I have a lot of good stories. I have stories about you return the new pair. Cool. You live across the pond on southern... Where's that? You're in Ireland? I don't know that abbreviation, unfortunately. So, you guys want to hear... Oh, Indiana. Oh, Indiana. Oh, gotcha. So when you said across the pond, I thought maybe you were talking about Europe or something. That's what you were saying to me. Yeah. Aw, thanks, Brenna. That's nice of you. She says, just swiping through, you're super pretty. Thank you. Ghost stories. Okay. It's funny you mentioned the plaid shirt I put on. I had, okay, so this happened, and then remember the other night, if you guys were in here, that girl popped in and all that. So when all this stuff started happening. Oh, I get you, Deborah. But one of my, I was just telling Fred the story tonight. A lot of my friends from high school and elementary school, now that I started doing this, as a, hey, Memphis. as a, public figure, I guess you could say, have come and sent me messages like, I remember you used to see things when we were younger. I remember you predicting things. I'm going, I don't remember sharing it with anybody. Isn't that funny? I don't remember that because it scared me a little bit and I didn't understand it and I thought people would think I was weird and I don't remember sharing it with people. And maybe I didn't purposely do that. Maybe I would channel, without realizing I was doing it or something. I don't know. I really don't. But I'd had an incident at a friend's house where they had a house that was haunted. They told me it was haunted. We all went in there and I had an experience. And I was telling Fred about it tonight. That same friend, yeah, Ouija boards, yeah. I know a lot about Ouija boards. We can talk about them. I have some that my friend made. We'll talk about Ouija boards in just a second. And I have a Ouija board story too. I do. But I don't have an issue with them at all. They're just another tool, as far as I'm concerned, that gets misused a lot, let's be honest. People misuse it. People have really weird beliefs about them that I think, unfortunately, have caused problems. But truly, it's a tool just like tarot cards or anything else. So anyways, about the plaid shirt. The reason I'm bringing this up. So this friend of mine that I was telling Fred the story about from high school, or junior high, when this all started happening to me, where I started getting all these abilities showing up, I had a dream about her brother, who I had not seen since I was probably 15 years old. She had this brother named Paul, and he was a real good-looking guy, very smart, military, but I hadn't seen him since he was in high school. And I saw him in a dream, and in the dream he had his arm around this guy with silver short hair, and the guy with the silver short hair was holding a plaid shirt. You remember Paul? What are you talking about? Anyway, a plaid shirt, like folded up. And it was just weird. I was like, why did I dream that? And I knew it was my friend's brother. So I contacted her through Facebook. I hadn't really talked to her in, God, decades. And I just said, I feel weird saying this to you, and I hope I'm not upsetting you. But I had this dream about your brother, and he was with this other guy, and he had this plaid shirt with him, this blue plaid shirt. I think it was blue. And I said something else about a cat and some other things that I saw in this vision. Yeah, okay. I don't have an issue with using Ouija boards. I don't think it's a big deal. I think that it's been hyped up and now it's what it is. I don't care for them. They're not my favorite thing, but I don't think they're a big deal. But anyway, back to what I was saying. And so I saw this vision, and so I contacted her, and then I didn't hear anything from her, and I thought, oh man, she must think I'm a nut, or must have upset her. I didn't mean to, but I didn't know why I saw that because I hadn't talked to her in decades. She writes me back like a week or so later and says, wow, yes, I believe in the afterlife. As a matter of fact, my brother did pass. I didn't know this. She says my brother passed, and then recently my boyfriend passed of a brain tumor. He had had cancer. And he was the only boyfriend I ever had that my brother Paul liked, and he considered him a brother. And she says, and I know exactly what shirt you're talking about. I was just smelling it the other day. And that's when I was like, I have to do something about this. Like, how would I know these things? Why is this happening? So it was funny because I was thinking about that story because I had this plaid shirt on day and I was thinking about that. I've had a lot of people from that beginning point showing up again lately around me. Yeah, I think it's wonderful. I love it. It makes me so happy to be able to give that to somebody, like that wanted it. Now, I don't just randomly walk up to people and tell them stuff. That's not cool, and it's not really a good way to do it. But we were friends for a long time. We were kids, and I figured, well, she doesn't want to hear it. She'll block me, I guess. I'm out of water. I'm out of water, Roxy. So Roxy was on her back just a second ago. The spread eagle. Hey, Lisa. That's my best friend's in here. Yay, Lisa. Hey, Lisa, remember when we were in the laundry room at your house and what happened with the laundry machine? And then that light fixture? Telling stories tonight. Remember that? So I'm at Lisa's house. This is what, about 3 years ago? Really, Lisa? About 3 years ago. And do I have facts about Ouija boards? I wonder whether my cousin's experience was real or not. Anything you experienced is real. But why it happened, that's a whole nother story. And usually it's because bad intentions, the intentions aren't set before you do something like that. So anyway, I was at Lisa's place, and we were talking about spirit stuff, I think, weren't we, Lisa? And I was saying how my grandmother always changes light fixtures, like moves light fixtures, you know, ceiling fixtures. And remember, that light fixture in that room later on that day was askew, and it's a very tall ceiling, can't really reach very easily, right? And then we were talking about something, or I'd done a tarot reading for maybe Alicia or something, I don't remember. And then we went in the laundry room, and she has these nice washer and dryers with the digital readouts. I don't remember exactly what happened. They just started beeping and doing all kinds of weird shit, right, Lisa? They just started digitally going nuts. Isn't that what happened? We weren't even touching them yet. We were going to go do laundry, and we walked in there, and they started going nuts. Because Lisa is also very intuitive. You guys, this is Lisa right there is like the finest human I've ever known. That's my very best friend. Give her love. Yeah, we just started flipping out. It was pretty cool, right? Yeah, when Lisa and I are together, it's great. What's wrong, Rox? You okay? Did you slip? I think she slipped on deck last night. I'm not too kind, it's true. Happy birthday, Lisa. Early. It's her birthday in a couple of days. Yeah. You sure favor Cheryl Ladd. Oh, really? Well, that's a nice compliment. I've been told Kate Hudson a lot. Kate Hudson. That's one I hear a lot. I can see it. I kind of see it. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. I'll take it. I'll take it. I think I look like me. So I'm going to be going to Texas to visit. Looking forward to the trip. It's going to be a long one, but yeah. Guess what I seen today, Molly? I don't know, Kay. What did you see today? Are you in California? You mentioned the 101. I did live in California most of my life, yeah. I'm in Florida now. What made you move to the boat? I know it was a compliment, thank you. I always wanted to live on a boat, actually. It was something, I loved sailing when I was a kid. And I met Fred last year, and we fell in love, and he said, I've always wanted to live on a boat, and that's my plan. Do you want to go with me? And I said, yes, I do. Your YouTube short on YouTube just at random. What about it? Oh, it popped up as a short. No joke. Hey, that's cool. Did you know that one of the videos that Fred and I did dancing on deck got almost 18,000 views? I didn't even know that till yesterday. I was just glancing through YouTube and I'm like, I don't even have 18,000 followers on YouTube. I've got like, what? President Magic would really dance. I was like,
if we were better dancers.
And Fred says, what if we were better dancers? I don't think they want to see better dancers. I think they just like to see the sunset behind us. I interacted with it, of course, because gotta boost you. Why, thank you, Kay. You're sweet. Yeah, they go to shorts. That's why I do a lot of shorts, because it gets it in the, you know. I've had a lot of really positive feedback. Yeah. Only had one like shitty one today, and I was like, whatever, stupid. I'm in North California. Nice to meet you. Well, cool. Yeah, I grew up on the Central Coast. Love the area. Miss it. It was a fun video. I watched all the way through. Cool. Okay. Thank you, dear. Very cool. Very cool. So, any other good stories you guys want to hear? It was funny because it was natural, and you can tell you're enjoying it. Aw, thanks, Kay. Any other stories I should tell tonight, or are we burned out at this point? Ghost stories, yes. Sure. Let me think of a good one for y'all. Something happened to me. I don't know if ghost is the right term, but we'll say ghost. You know, for want of a better word. I always say spirit, but when I was living in Georgia, we had moved into a house, and on April Fool's, evening of April Fool's, the burglar alarm starts going off. We never hooked the burglar alarm off. I didn't know a code to the burglar alarm. I knew it was there. You know, it was like this horn in the, you know, over by the front door. The keypad was back in the laundry room. We'd never hooked it up. We asked the owners. They said they never used it. It was off as far as they knew. It starts going off at 3:33 in the morning. 3:33 in the morning on April 1st. I didn't think much about it except for the 3:33 thing. Of course, to me, I know it's spirit. Because we were sleeping, and all of a sudden here's, you know, like this really loud, horrible sound. I said, what the hell is that? Is that somebody's car alarm? He's all, no, that sounds like it's in our house. So we're out in the living room. We didn't know how to shut the thing off. Like, how do you shut this thing off? So he jumps up on a stool and takes like wire cutters, literally pulls the horn box out of the wall and cuts it to shut it off because we didn't know what to do. And then we start hearing this beeping in the laundry room. So I walk in there and the keypad's going crazy. So just off the top of my head, I hit 333 pound and it shuts off. I go back to bed. Of course, I can't go to sleep right away because I'm kind of tripped out. And as I do finally start to fall asleep, I hear April Fools. I heard a woman say April Fools. Still didn't know who it was right away. Next morning, I'm in the shower. I'm listening to music like I always do. It's on random play. And the song comes on that was not on my playlist. And it was the Happy Organ. I don't remember who it is. It's some silly 60s music. It's like organ. It sounds like something you would play at a skating rink. Okay. Sue used to play that in the shop, my friend Sue. And I used to work in a costume novelty shop. And Sue and I would always screw with each other in April Fools. So I knew without a doubt when I heard that song, it was absolutely her. So if you ever hear the song, The Happy Organ, or listen to it, it's really dorky. It's really dorky organ music, like, again, like you played a skating rink back in the old times, in the 60s, 50s or 60s. Yeah. So then I text her widower, and said, hey, I think Sue came and saw me, gave me a little surprise the other night. He goes, oh yeah, she does that to me all the time. He goes, she always sets things up. What about when you were thrifting and things were moving around? Oh yeah, that was a good one. So one time, actually we were yard sailing, I think it was, and back to the ex-boyfriend Brian. We were at a yard sale, and we both loved mid-century modern type things. So we were looking at plates and forks and cool stuff, and there was this table full of glasses, and I was showing him some plates or something, and he was standing, a little bit down. It was just us out on this table with all this dishes and shit. And all of a sudden, I actually see a glass, like this for a glass, lift off the table, go like this, and tap another glass. And I heard the ding, and then go back down on the table without anybody touching it. Brian saw it too. And I said, did you just? He goes, I did. And I go, what was that? No sooner do I say that, I see a bald guy standing like 5 feet away from us that I did not see before, with his arms crossed like this, looking very smug, with glasses. And he looked like a teacher from about the 70s, I guess, kind of like the clothing or whatever. And he was just smirking, like it was some funny little practical joke he played. Hey, Lorinda. So both of us were like, yeah. Was that the story? Hey, Lorinda, hope you're feeling better, sweetie. Was that the story, Lisa, or you think about a different one? Think about with the little girl? I have so many stories, guys. Another weird story is, I was saying to you guys that kids, I love you, girl. Kids, by the way, guys, if you're not following Lorinda, if you have an intuitive ability, she's mentoring people, and I mentor too sometimes, but she really has a program. She's a great teacher. She's a great friend, very talented medium. She does past life regression, everything. So check her out if you don't know her. That was the one? Oh, the little girl? Okay. Okay, so I'm kind of like a child whisperer. I don't know why. Kids love me. I don't know what it's about kids, or it's definitely a past life thing. Maybe I should do that with you. I should do that with you, Lorinda. I should have you do that with me. Maybe we'll do that later. Hey, CJ, thanks for following me. So, we were thrifting. It was probably around the same time, I will. And I found this little sort of like industrial area that was having sort of like this yard sale kind of ideal going on. And so we were walking around. I found this really cool clown bank. It's like a metal bank, and like his hand puts the penny in his mouth. It's creepy, but the guy was selling it to me for 25 cents, so I had to get it. So I'm standing there, and this cute little girl comes over to me, and I have kids come up to me all the time. This happens like they know me all the time. You have the kids too? Yeah. Well, I wasn't a teacher, and I never had my own kids, but they're usually little girls, 8 and under usually. Sometimes boys, but usually girls. So she this little cute little redhead girl with 2 little braids comes walking over, probably no more than 5 or 6 years old. Kind of has like a little accent. She comes over and goes, "Hey, I know you." I said, "You do?" "Yeah, I know you." "Okay, how do you know me?" And she says, "From before I was born." Hey, that's cool. Hey, CJ, cool stuff. Yeah, and I say, "Really? So how do you know me?" And you said, "You know me from before you were born." And she says, "Yeah." And I said, "Where did you meet me?" She says, "Thrift store." I said, "Really? You sure you didn't see me at the thrift store?" "Nope, it's before I was born." She says, "Hold on, I got something for you." She walks away. Apparently, she lives in this industrial complex. I don't know why they live there. Maybe they own an office there and they stay there. I don't know what they're doing. And she comes back with this dog. And the dog's like a Kelpie or a Queensland or something like that. And she says, "My dog don't like nobody." Like, she talks like this. She says, "But I think it's your dog." And I went, "Okay." So she says, "He doesn't like nobody." But the dog comes right over to me, sits down right next to me, right up against my leg. Like it knows me. And she's like going like that. She says, "Hold on." And she goes running back in, and she comes out with her little brother. The little kid's like 2, like a toddler in diapers. Barely talks. And the little boy goes, "That dog don't like nobody." I said, "Well, I can't take the dog. I'm sorry." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, we pay for whatever we end up picking up or whatever. We're about to leave. And I say to her, "So what's your name?" She says, "Patience." And it was really funny because at the time I was waiting for something to happen. And I was very impatient. And so it was like, how could you miss that message? Right? Another time we were in Texas before that happened, and it was my birthday. We were going to dinner. It was the first time we'd been out since we'd moved to Texas at all to eat because we were broke. Yeah, I need patience, exactly. And we were going to go inside to eat, and it was really busy that night for some reason. And we're standing outside waiting to go in, and this little girl, probably about 7 or so, comes running up to me, breaks away from her parents, comes running up to me, throws her arms around me, and says, "Happy birthday! I'm here." I get a lot of that. "I'm here," when they show up. And I'm like, I don't, and I was hugging her. She was hugging me, so I was, okay. And her parents are like, "Oh, you must be one of her teachers." And "No, I've never seen your daughter before." "Oh my God, we're so sorry. We're so sorry." I'm like, "No, it's okay." And they go, honey, you think she's somebody else." Or like they were trying to convince her, like she got confused about who I was. And the little girl's all, "No, I know her. No, I know her. I know her. It's her birthday." And I said, it is my birthday. And parents were freaked out. They were like dragging her away from me. And she's like, "It's her birthday. I know her." And she kept saying that. I had never seen this little kid before. I didn't even live there for more than a few weeks. Another time, when I first started dating another ex, I had a lot of exes, and they don't all live in Texas. But we were at an emergency room. His grandmother had taken a fall. "I'm not in a trailer, honey. I'm in a boat." "I'm on a boat." Yes, Mara, that's a good point. It's very possible. On the swing, yep. That's another crazy video. Wait, what was the other thing I started to tell you guys something. So we're in this emergency room, and this baby is just screaming and crying, screaming and crying, and screaming and crying. And everybody's trying to, like, you can't get mad. I mean, the kid's sick or whatever, but it's hard to listen to. And I could see the spirit walking around in the emergency room, and he looked like a homeless guy. And because at first I thought it was a real person, and I said, "I can't believe they're letting this homeless guy just walk back and forth around the room." And Jeff's like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "You don't see that guy?" And he's like, "No." And the guy saw me. He was looking at me. So then I was like, kind of like, "Oh, well," and I was explaining to him, like, I see spirit. And he knew that, but he didn't realize like how much I saw him. I don't always see him, but sometimes. So this baby's crying, crying, crying. And I said to him, I go, if I can get the baby to look at me and give me eye contact, I can get it to stop crying. And he goes, yeah, sure. And I said, no, I'm serious. He will stop crying. And so this, you know, and it was a Latino family, and they were, you know, the baby was sick, obviously, but, you know, doing this kind of thing. Comes by me, and sure enough, the baby looks at me, and so I look at the baby, and I say, you're okay, you're going to be fine, you're in a safe place, they're going to take care of you, you're okay, you don't need to cry, everybody knows you don't feel well. You know, in my mind, I was telling this baby, immediately stopped, not one peep out of that baby. And Jeff just looked at me like, what? Oh, okay, you want to know about negative spirits. Thank you. Have I had negative things happen? Yeah, kind of, here and there. But again, most of the time, I really, really believe it is misunderstood energy, because they are trying to communicate with us in a way that they've never been able. Yes, I'm on a boat. It's called mediumship. Sometimes spirits, you know, it's a new language for them. They're having to, hi Linz, they're having, yes, you can hear the waves because the door's open. They're having to communicate in a way that they can't use their tongue and their mouth and all that stuff to talk, right? Yeah, of course it's safe. They have to use energy to get our attention. So some ways to use energy would be to move things, right? To show, maybe make flashes of light, to maybe focus you on something that looks like an energy. So for example, people say like, oh, I saw a butterfly, it was my grandma. No, the butterfly itself is not your grandma. No, probably not. Could be, but probably not. But the butterfly was maybe influenced by your grandmother's energy to come to you and land on your shoulder or float in front of your face, right? So that's kind of how it works. So, so as far as bad energies go, when I do readings, I always say, you know, I'm only looking for something for the greater good, to help support moving forward. I kind of just don't really invite it. And if I feel like anything's going in a negative way, and I've had it happen a few times here, even on lives, I just stop. Yeah, the kid stories are crazy, right? Yeah, I just stop. I just don't keep going. I just tell it, basically. You're not invited. Just like if somebody walked in, got on my boat, and I didn't invite them. You have to have permission to board my boat. Okay, and that includes my energy. You are not allowed to get in my energy if I don't invite. That's how it works. How do I ground myself? Well, I live on the water. I mean, short of me sticking my feet in the water, which I pretty much do every day anyway. I don't know how much more grounded I could feel, to be truthful. I really, you know, I have very little distraction where I live right now. You know, I'm in the water. I'm not on a dock. I'm actually on an anchor ball in the water. So it's like secluded, sort of. We have neighbors. I mean, I can see boats from where I'm sitting, but we, you know, when we're on our boat, we're minding our business. It's kind of nice. I'm a magnet to kids, dogs, electronics. Yep, me too. I mess electronics up all the time. As a matter of fact, when I do readings, I don't do them live, like through a phone or Zoom or whatever, because I always have glitches. Each and every time. That's why I don't do it. It just annoys me. And sometimes I'm on live, stuff happens. The other night I was doing a live and I was channeling somebody's son, and her side of the screen went black. She could hear me, but she could not see me. I've been trying to upload it. I can't get it to upload either, by the way. I've had TV screens go crazy when I walk in the room. I've ruined people's phones by touching them. Not every time, just sometimes. I have video of, I walked in to get a pedicure one day and the TV just went crazy when I walked in the room. Hey, Sally. How are you doing, cutie? I'm on my boat. I live on a boat. So, yeah. So, I think we're probably about at an hour, around 9 o'clock, right? So would you explain the kids' stories of spirit transferring bodies, reincarnation? Sorry if it's weird. No, it's not weird. Okay, CJ's telling a story. I'm reading it. When I was pregnant with my youngest, we bought a house for the land. Sorry, this is a long message. Okay. Yes, amazing stuff is happening right now. I agree, recovery. I agree with you. So, Kay, would you explain kids' stories of spirit transferring bodies or reincarnation? I think their kids have some memory of who they really are. When you pass or die, or whatever you want to call it, when you leave your meat suit, we'll say, and you become just consciousness and spirit again, and there is no encasing like this, you know everything about who you are, and you are endless. You are infinite. That's why you're God, I'm God. That's what God is. You're infinite. Your energy is infinite. It never began and it never ends. Okay, it just changed its form. That Einstein said that about energy, right? So you're an energy. So as a kid, you remember a lot of stuff more than you realize. That's why kids have such great imaginations, because you remember a lot from who you were before, and then we program it out. So that's why I think it's always kids under the age of 8, because I think when they're that young, they still haven't been completely jaded or taught to ignore what they think, or tamped down. Their imaginations haven't been quelled. They allow themselves to say whatever they want. Oh, isn't that cute? You know, so if little Kimmy says, you know, hey, you know, I was a warrior in a pyramid one year, you know, where everybody goes, oh, isn't that cute? She thinks she was a warrior in a pyramid. You know what I mean? Nobody takes it seriously, and then after a while they go, oh, those are silly things I said when I was a kid. Yeah. Okay, it says, unless that's the same thing. I lived in a boat for 4 years. Cool, Jan. Interesting. This is going into buying. So I'm 8 to 12 months pregnant. We get the house. AC was broken. No power to the house. Like, our fears can be from like 40. Oh, yeah. I truly think sometimes some of the weird likes and dislikes we have are sort of like leftover information. Like me not wanting to have children, yet children love me. There's something with kids. Absolutely. I think I was, you know what I really think? And this is as a teen, I saw a maid in Vietnam had a flash of holding a gun to my head, and I lost it crying. Yeah, Sully. Yeah. See, I honestly, first of all, I know weird vaudevillian songs and corny songs that I don't know how I know them. I don't know why I know them. I'll hum a tune. I have no clue where it came from. I truly feel like maybe I was some type of an entertainer with children. Like you know, like a Captain Kangaroo type of thing, but a different time or dimension or something. Because kids come to me like they know me, and they'll go, I'm here, or, you know, oh, hi, you know, like they know me. They'll just walk up to me and hug me. Kids walk right up to me. Said to the empty house, it's mine. All of a sudden the door slammed shut in the house. I booked it. That's crazy, CJ. That's so cool. Jerry says, my mom said I told her I saved her when she was younger. It's very possible, Jerry. Very possible. Well, that makes sense for you. Yeah, Mira, I think so. So, anyway. All right, guys, it's getting late. I'm tired. My throat's starting to get dry. I need more water. Thank you guys for listening to these stories. I'm glad you guys enjoyed them. I hadn't done them in a while. Usually I'm always doing something else. But, man, I appreciate the support. I'm thinking maybe the next live, maybe we'll do a meditation, then we'll do some maybe foli or something. But I'm glad you guys like the stories. They are in my YouTube somewhere. All the fairy videos and things are they're in my profile. There's actually a thing where they're sort of separated, categorized. Love you all. Please follow, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm going to be taking a trip pretty soon, so if you don't see me, don't worry about it. I'll be back. Can I come contact you? Yeah, you can contact me. My website's missmollyknows.com. By the way, I will never ask you for a reading. I will not reach out to you and ask you for anything ever. Okay? You have to reach me first, and I always say go through my website. Super important, because there are scammers pretending to me. There are over 30 fake accounts that are not mine. I've reported them, you guys. It doesn't work. I've got almost 30,000 followers. So look at the profile before you answer anybody on here, you guys. Please, please, please protect yourselves. All right, everybody. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye.